All right, so the last example is going to have four parts to it. But with it, this is a really great example because I love it, especially with all that's going on right now. Um, and in school, just regular school. I love this problem. So just think about this. So you walk into your class. Let's say you're walking into Mr. Hall's math 4 class, and like you completely forgot to study for the test that day. You're like, oh my gosh, I got a test. Like Thor would say, oh my gosh. Yeah. So you forgot about that test, and so you have slept through every single class this unit. So you have literally no clue what this material is about. You have no clue whatsoever because you've been asleep all the time. So let's say like maybe like if you're on remote learning or something, and you actually like click on the button and actually come into class, but then like you have your camera off, and then you're like, well, I just don't feel like paying attention today, so you turn over in your bed and you like pull the cover up over and you fall asleep. You did that the whole class time, the whole time. All right, so you have no clue no clue of what the material is about. So if the test is a multiple choice test with 25 questions and four choices for each question, find the probability of finding, and we're going to find these four things, of finding, getting it, of the following, sorry, getting exactly 10 questions correct. That's our goal. We're trying to get exactly 10 questions correct. So this person, again, is not studied. This person has been asleep the whole time, and they just want at least 10 questions right. They don't even want half of them right. They don't even want like 13 of the questions, 12, 13 questions. They just want 10. So let's find out what that is. So here we already know that it's two things. Either you get a question correct or get it wrong. That's two. We know that probability of success is going to be sorry, not that. Number of trials. Sorry. Whew. There's 25 numbers here, 25 questions. That's how many trials there are. So let's do that. And sorry, also before we do that, we have success is correct. That's one outcome. Correct. Correct. All right, and so failure is going to be wrong. So either correct or wrong. All right, so we have that. We said step 3 that it doesn't have to have it does one thing doesn't depend on the other. So getting one question right doesn't depend on getting the next question right. You just do each question individually, and then at the end you overall average it right. But it doesn't matter what you did in the first question. All right. So here that takes care of that, and then the last one, the probability has to be the same. So for each question, there's one probability of getting it right. So there's one right question, a right answer, and there are four wrong. Or, there's four choices in all. Sorry. So there's one right answer, so one correct answer, and then there's four choices, answer choices. Oh my gosh! All right. So we have four answer choices here. So that probability is 1/4, or you can say 0.25, 25%. All right. So we have our N, we have our P, and so what we have to do now, and we've also just went through all four parts of it to say it is a binomial distribution. So what we have to do now, sorry, not 10. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It should be 25. There's 25 questions right there, not 10 questions. Not talking about 10. The next part, the looking for. That's the part that's that exactly 10 questions. All right, so we're talking about exactly 10 questions. That means just 10. So that means that our min and max are 10. So let's go and put that in the calculator. So we already have this up here from the last question. So let's change it. Put 25 here, 0.25 here. And here we have 10 and 10. All right, so looking at that, you would have a horrible chance but actually it really is a horrible chance. So let's look at our probability. Yes, this is a really bad chance of him just getting 10 problems. And he's not even asking for like, he's not even asking for half of it. He just wants like just 10 of them. So our probability in percent form would be like 4.17%. Guys, that's low, right? That's really low. So if he just wants to get 10 questions right, he only has a 4.17 chance of getting it right. That's not good. All right, so let's go on. So we know it's not going to happen to get 10 questions. If it happens, like amazing. So let's see. Let's go with this next one. So now we're looking at passing the test with at least 60, with a 60. Now, there's a difference between this question and the last question. Can you guys figure it out? Think about it. Well, what's the difference between that last question and this question? Mr. Hall, the last question dealt with the number of questions correct. Mr. Hall, this one deals with just actual overall answer and overall grade. You're amazing, guys. You're wonderful. That's exactly right. This one deals with your overall grade, and the last one dealt with the number of questions. And the problem deals with the number of questions. So we're going to have to try to figure out how to get the number of questions correct to be 60 or more, right? Or 60, at least a 60 or more. So with that, we know, first off, at least 60 means 60 or more. So that means that here we would have to actually figure out how many questions it's going to be to get us to be 60 or more. So to get us 60, you have to have a certain amount of questions correct. That's what I just said. Just write it out in word form so you can have it on your notes. All right, so to do that, to figure out how many, to do that, to figure out how many questions are correct, or how many questions you need to get correct, you kind of have to know how many questions how many points each question is worth. So if you can figure that part out, you can multiply by how many questions you get correct to see if you have a 60 or more. So to find out how much each question is worth, determine the question's worth. We're going to take 100 and divide it by how many numbers there are, how many questions. Let's read that again. You're going to take 100 and divide it by the number of questions that there are. So here there's 100 questions. Not 100 questions, sorry. There's 100 points. Golly, I'm all over the place this morning, this afternoon. All right, we're going to divide it by how many questions there are, which is 25 questions here. You can do this for any really math test, unless they actually break down the question points. All right, so that means here that's 4 points apiece. 4 points per question. All right, so here, questions. Let me do the question mark here. It's not letting me be great. Come on, board. Let me be great. All right, so we have that. So we know 4 points apiece. So we have to figure out what times 4 will give us at least a 60. Right. So if you go through it, you're guessing, you're checking it, you do on the side of here, I'm going to do it. So let's say let's just say 10. We already know the answer to that one. And that's 40. I'm like, nah, it's not that. Let's do 12. Oh, 48. We're getting closer. Let's just jump. Let's say 16. Oh, no, we're above 64. That's about above 60, so let's go down to 15. Trial and error. 60. All right, so we say 15 right here. So 15 times 4 is 60. So we need to at least get 15 questions correct. 15 questions or more, at least 15. in order to be able to do this. All right, so with this, we already know what the n is. We know what the p is from the first problem. So with it, we're going to go ahead and put everything in here. So what's the probability of getting at least a 60? So here, we know it's still 25 questions. The probability is 0.25. Our min would be 15. 15 or more, so 15 is the lowest. Then our max would be the highest number, which is 25. All right, so we're going to find out what is the probability of getting at 60 or higher. So I'm going to, again, jump right back up to the top here. I'm going to change this from 10 to 15, and then the second one from 10 to 25. All right, so that gives us that probability right there. And so if we put that actually as a decimal, a percent there, sorry, that'd be 0.02%. So again, that's not happening, guys. That really is not happening. If it's that low of a percent, it's not happening. So there's a 0.02% chance of getting a 60 or higher on this test. It's not going to happen, guys. It's really not going to happen. All right, so let's go to C and D, and then we're done, guys.